Hey everyone, welcome to tonight's ASE webinar. Just going to do a quick sound check to make sure people can hear me. You type in your questions pane, give me a little bit of feedback, and let me know if you can see my screen okay. All right, got a few people still filtering in here yet. All right, once again, welcome everyone to tonight's ASE webinar. I apologize to those of you that may have registered for this for the earlier date, the April 25th, and we had to bump this back due to a scheduling conflict. So once again, my apologies for that, but welcome. And we're excited to provide you tonight some information on a new program for ASE and provide some of the details on that. And before we get rolling, let me introduce you to tonight's webinar team. First of all, flying wingman with me tonight is Dan Baumhart. He's Manager of Light Vehicle Test Development, and he's going to be co-moderating this session. My name is, my name is Dave Kappert, and I'll be presenting tonight's webinar. Let's just go over the online interface here real quickly. On your left, you see a viewer window, and then you also have a control panel. Since you're not able to interact with us by voice, the way to interact with us is through the questions pane. So you'll see that on the interface on the screen. So once again, everybody said that they can hear and see okay, so let's just move right along. I do want to just say a few words here about mobile devices, since the use of these devices represents a bigger proportion of our audience with every one of these sessions that we do, almost half now. You can communicate via chat. You can also respond to polling questions now. We won't be doing any polls tonight, but the app is available in the Android market. It's the GoToMeeting, GoToWebinar app, and also in the Apple App Store. For those of you on iPads or any other tablets, smartphones, so on and so forth. The only thing I can't accept any responsibility for is that if you're using one of these devices, and obviously it's mobile, if you have a Wi-Fi network around you, I would perhaps suggest that you connect to it so you don't have to use your data plan for this session. Okay, so again, let's go over this new program, the Introduction to Automobile Service. We're going to talk here about the program concept, and we'll show you some key design elements. We'll show you some of the features that this program has. And then finally, we'll talk about how you can get it in various shapes and forms. Okay, the program concept is really what's behind it. This is a very, very base level program. It's introductory knowledge of service tasks for those personnel that are just getting into the service career. It's a broad program, but it's not a real deep program in terms of technical depth, and that's the way it was designed, again, for entry-level people. The task list that this program is built off essentially is the framework, and that was built by industry subject matter experts. It wasn't ASE's own ideas of what should be covered in this program, but the industry came together, put together a task list for these basic tasks, which by many has been considered to be an achievement unto itself. So it's a fairly comprehensive program, and we're quite proud of that. The program is delivered exclusively online at asecampus.com, which is our learning management system. It's not at ase.com, it's at asecampus.com, which is also the platform that we deliver the online Section 609 refrigerant recovery program with. And then finally, this is a completion program. It is not a certification program. Emphasis here is on learning, with then a quiz to to go over what's covered in the training modules. So again, it's all about completion and training. Just to show you here real quickly what's covered in the program as far as module breakout, it's It's a program that really consists of 5 modules, 4 training modules, and then the 5th is a quiz. And you can see they're broken down into various sections with the major headings that you can read in front of you. I'm not going to belabor you with that because you obviously know how to read. But again, the emphasis is on your 4 modules of training, and then the 5th is your quiz. There is no requirement to take these modules in any order. There is no requirement to take any section in any order of any given module. A lot of e-learning design revolves around the fact that you should be able to give somebody the freedom to do as they like when they're inside one of the modules or even among the modules. Apologize for that. And so therefore you can go in and you can learn any which way you want. You can only be in one module at a time, but again, you have total freedom to roam around and go and do this in any order you want. For those of us, a lot of times more linear learners, older guys, a lot of times we'll end up going through this thing. We'll go through it, Module 1, go A through D, Module 2, so on and so forth down the line. Nothing wrong with that, but we accommodate everybody in the way that this thing is designed. Altogether, we're looking at about 73 tasks that's covered between the 4 modules. And again, are covered to some degree in a 40-question quiz as a final. The tasks feature rich visuals with supporting progressive text. The visuals change to match your passages of text within each task as you go through it. And you see up here in the top of the text window, we've got a progress bar that shows you where you're at as you go through this. So as you click more, it'll read you another, or it won't read you, but it will display to you another passage of text. And if there's a suitable change in visuals that go along with it, they'll change as you go through it. You can repeat these over and over again if you need to go through them, so there's no limit on that. And then with every task, we also have a sample interaction where we have designed it as such so that you get involved and do something. So like in this particular one you see on the screen, talking about cabin air filter, we ask you to point out the detail that's important in a cabin air filter installation. Our task tips are kind of a summary of the task itself, which again emphasize the key points that are covered in each one of the tasks. So, we give the little session, we get an interaction, and then we follow it up with a task tip just to help reinforce those key points. After the tasks are completed in a section, then what you are presented with is a series of knowledge check questions. These questions are not in any way provided as a means of scoring you on anything. They're just intended to help provide you the ability to emphasize the learning that goes on. Okay, now I want to talk just a little bit about the safety zone. Since this is for entry-level candidates, one of the things that we wanted to include in this program was an emphasis on safety and where these entry-level candidates can go and get some information on safety programs that are out there to help teach that aspect of automotive service. This is not an exhaustive list, but this is some things that we've dug up in research that we know is available that's out there. This can be printed out and used as a reference piece. Also want to apologize. It appears I'm getting a little artifact on my screen from a capture app that I have. I'll just leave that be for this moment. Okay, on tasks that require an elevated sense of safety and awareness of that, what we have is we have what we call kind of a hyper safety alert, where there is a window that pops up that kind of prevents the learner from even getting into the task until they go through some of these key things. And so in front of you, you see the fuel filter task, where we talk about the dangers of working around gasoline in some different shapes and forms. So they have to acknowledge that before they can get into that task. And again, the emphasis here on the design is to help any of these entry-level candidates become aware of the fact that safety is important in any operation, but especially in certain operations and certain tasks. There is a module map in each one of the modules, except for the quiz, that allows you to go and click on it, and you can pick out any section you want. You can jump between them. You can review the navigation, and then you can scroll down and you can review all the different tasks, and it's clickable so you can jump around the different tasks if you so choose. The modules do have a tracking mechanism, which I'll show you in just a second, to show you whether you've reviewed a task or not. So here's an example of task tracking under Section A for the Preparation and Documentation Module 1 of the training modules. And you see the little ASE logo there that shows that that task has been reviewed. And all that means is really that the user has gone to it and looked at it. They may have looked at it more than once, but they've looked at it at least once in order to get the ASE logo to display on there for each one of these tasks. And then at this point, then the learner can jump off and go to the knowledge checks. At a higher level, then we have what's called section tracking, where each one of the sections that are then completed, which means review of all the tasks in a section, as well as the knowledge check, then it checks off that section level. So as you can see here, the representation here is that A through C have been completed, and D still is not yet completed. Okay, also important with these, entry-level folks is going to be a glossary of terms, and so we've adopted this and have embedded it in the product so that different terms as far as vehicle technology are covered to help, again, kind of round out that knowledge when somebody is at the entry point of their career. The modules feature what's called a bookmarking function, where if you've been in the module before, after you've logged in and gone through it, if you go and you exit the module, it'll remember where you were at, and when you come back into that module, it'll prompt you to see if you want to go back to where you left off. And again, I mentioned completion. Notice that that's what we have as a certificate. This completion certificate is available on the site. It's printed off online if you successfully complete the quiz and score 80% on it. And it will always maintain the completion date of the program. And it basically amounts to something that'll fit in kind of a 5x7 frame. And you can print that off and display it. And show that you've actually, gone through this program and have completed it successfully. Okay, you can see the pricing in front of you. The individual pricing is $39.99. That's 5 modules. Again, the 4 training, the 1 quiz. We do offer a quantity discount at 35% for quantities of 10 or more, which brings it down to $25.99. We have a retake package, which is available for $20, and that's offered in the event that the candidate doesn't pass the quiz. Under the agreement, when you buy this package of modules, you have access to complete it within 60 days, at which point, if it's not used, it will automatically be removed from the person's profile. And at 45 days, an email reminder goes out automatically to kind of tap you on the shoulder and say, this has not been completed, so you may want to tend to it. And once again, this product, as well as our air conditioning recovery program, are available on asecampus.com. That's where you can learn more. There are, on these drop-down menus here, you can go ahead and you can click on it, and there's a fact sheet in there. There's also a task list. There's some FAQs that are embedded in there to learn more about the program. I'm ready for some questions. I wasn't, again, intending this to be a really exhaustive review of this product. It was meant to be an introduction, trying to keep these sessions short. And I am looking in the questions pane right now, so please bear with me. Okay, we see. I see several questions coming in here about how long does it take to complete this program. How long it takes to complete the program is based on the individual in terms of, you know, how fast they want to go through it, if they have, you know, any already existing experience or something like that. What we tell people is that basically we would allow like 5 hours. We like to kind of, just as a roundabout number, say about an hour per module. And that's based on historical review of learners' access times, where they want to get in, and I mean they're actually spending the time to learn this information, and then go ahead and take the quiz. So altogether, we'll say 5 hours. Okay, I'm not taking these in any given order. I'm just going to answer them best I can. Are videos included in any of the modules? At this time, no, we don't have videos in them. These are right now still images that change in transition with text. So that's the way the current design is. How many times can they take the final exam? They could take it multiple times. It's not a situation where you can take the retake over and over, though. What we do is we, again, emphasize that you go through the training as much as possible, making sure you understand the knowledge checks, because each one of those knowledge checks has remediation on it. Will tell the learner whether they got the question right or not before they get into the actual quiz. The quiz itself is not remediated. And let's see, are there any animations or click and drag type games matching activities? There are no games, but the final quiz does include a couple of drag and drop questions on them that are a little bit different. And so we've incorporated, I mean, most of the questions are standard, what you're familiar with, the ASE, which is the 4-option multiple choice question, but we do have some other question types on this quiz. The modules right now are not available in Spanish. We're exploring that option. Are there plans for additional e-learning in the future? There are not any firm plans, but we're exploring more options. We want to see how this goes. How long recognized? I guess what I'm guessing is how long is this good for? I mean, this doesn't have a recompletion or requalification type of stipulation attached to it right now. But one of the things that we will do is, as time goes on and technology changes, which of course it is, the program will be continually updated. So somebody who completes it, let's jump ahead 3 years, from now, somebody who would complete it 3 years ago, it's not going to be the same program. We'll have updated some tasks to keep pace with it. So, the more current somebody's completion is, shows that they've kept current with the program, or they've taken the most recent one. Now we're getting a little bit of comment about this in G1. This is not a prep program for G1 by any stretch of the imagination. If you were to compare the two task lists, they are really different. G1 is a higher level program than this, but this particular program, again, is an entry-level one to get started. So it's a different animal altogether. How many modules are there total? There's 4 training modules. There's 1 quiz. There's also, we throw in the package, there's a survey module. So there's really 6, but 5 that count in terms of tonight's discussion. Okay, I have special ed students. Are any plans for accommodation for them? At this particular moment, we don't. Again, we've kind of put this out there. We are looking at all options in terms of what might be good to expand it, and channel it further into different needs. See a question here, do you think this will work well with high school and college students? I can say from experience, we think that it works pretty well with high school students. We've seen schools adopt it for that purpose. We've seen some community colleges adopt it for some specially made entry-level technician programs. What is the reading level? I will guess on that one that it's, I think, ASE. Dan, if you can maybe help me out there and turn on your mic for a second. Are we at a 6th grade reading level?
Dave, that is correct. 5th to 6th grade reading level.
Okay. So this kind of is in the same boat as that. Okay, does the certificate stay on our ASE site? At this time, the ASE campus site and my ASE are not integrated together. The plans are for that to happen. I can't tell you when. We're getting some questions about that. No modules for transit bus at this time. We're getting some questions about transit bus. Okay, somebody asked, how do you control that the user is in fact the right person? This is not a high stakes exam or anything like that. This is a open book type of program that is offered for educational purposes for people who are entry level. This is not in any way intended to be a certification exam, nor a proctor type environment. So this is a different type of product. We're putting this out over the internet, to kind of spread the wealth, if you will, a little bit in terms of knowledge. How do we access the program? Again, this is access through asecampus.com, which is the URL for the ASE Learning Management System. Okay, we're getting some questions on site licensing. Could we do site licensing for different schools? There's a possibility that we could entertain something like that. Again, these are all new ways of offering this. Right now, we're offering it out to the general public. Through the ASE campus site. We have no CD-based version of this, no local version of this that you can run, right on your desktop at this point. It's all internet-based. And I'm looking at some of these other questions. Dan, is there anything that stands out to you that seems to be a trend?
I don't see a trend, Dave, but I do notice that on some of the questions, for instance, one of the folks asked to repeat how many modules there were and the clarification between how many modules and the quiz module.
Okay, there's 4 training modules and there's 1 quiz module. So that's a total of 5 modules for the program itself.
And then the other portion is that I might have jumped over this. I was answering another question, but are the learners allowed to test out of the modules or jump over? They're allowed to jump over, but can they go to the quiz and take the quiz without going through any of the text, any of the modules themselves?
Yeah, this is a non-restrictive program, so if you decide that you want to go and take the quiz right away and just be done with it, that's fine. Again, the emphasis here is really kind of a 90-10, 90% on the training, 10% on the quiz. So, going back to the point I made earlier, that if you want to go through the training, you can go through it any section you want, any order you want, or if you want, you can jump to the quiz. You can start with Module 4, then go to 5, or if you want to do 1, it's really up to you. This is not a restrictive type of thing where you got to complete something else before the other. We kind of leave it open.
Dave, do we have any plans at this point for adding any other areas or expanding modules to this particular product at this point?
At this instant in time, we don't have any plans to expand it further, but it's probably going to be a natural outgrowth that something else could come about in this product. So as of this particular instant, the answer is no. But we're willing to, we'll honor feedback from people. That's one of the things that we've done in building this product. And we'd like to continue to do that and keeping this going forward.
So I think what you're asking or saying there is, too, that you're open for input if there's any suggestions for modules that folks might like to see, that we'd like to hear about that, correct?
True, but not only modules, but even module content. I mean, if there's issues with the tasks in terms of, maybe they think something needs to be expanded or something also needs to be added in various modules, we'll certainly consider, doing that, because we need to keep this current with what's happening out there.
We don't currently offer this in a Spanish version, correct?
That's right. At this moment, we don't.
And we don't have a pre-test for this. Really, this is not, it's a more training class than a pre-test, or more training product than a product that needs a pre-test for it. The product itself is a training for the quiz at the end, correct?
Yes, that's right. What else you got, Dan? Any others?
Trying to catch up to you.
Oh, I'm going through them here too, because I haven't seen what's added to the bottom.
When does the 60 days start for this?
The 60 days starts from the time of enrollment. So if you were to go and register for it now and enroll and get the package and put it into your profile, that's when the 60-day clock starts ticking. And then in 45 days, if it hasn't been completed, what will end up happening is the system will see it sitting there dormant, and it'll send you an email with 15 days left on the enrollment, just to remind you. Now, if you forgot and you went out of town, you were on vacation, something like that, we're not going to hold that fast to it. Just you contact us. We'll be good guys about it, and then we would redeploy the modules into your profile.
One of the questions Dave had to do with whether this training program would help with taking ASE certification tests.
Well, I mean, if you were an entry-level technician and starting out, it would might help you start on that path. But again, this is not a certification product. It's not a test prep product. I want to make that distinction very, very clear.
The other thing, too, is the content on the ASE exams is diagnosis and repair in nature, specifically in the automotive series. This is designed to introduce candidates or technicians to content in the automotive repair industry, so specifically an introduction to that, to servicing automobiles.
Right. I mean, you can see on screen here, here's one of the knowledge check questions, maintaining vehicle memory settings. That's certainly not diagnostic or repair in nature. It's just about how to perform some basic connections and best practices when going about doing certain things. And I'll back up a little further here. Battery cleaning, again, cabin air filter installation. Cable clamp connections, that sort of thing. So again, you can see it's very basic and level.
The question is, how do they gain access to the campus, Dave? Could you go through that just for a second?
Yep. Go to www.asecampus.com, and on that page you'll see the introduction to automobile. Here, I'll go ahead and I'll forward ahead here a little bit once and get to that. So you go to www.asecampus.com. You'll notice the current page design. We have the 609 refrigerant recovery program, and then we have the Intro to Automobile Service e-learning program below that, and there's a drop-down menu.
Thanks, Dave. Charles had asked if, as a NATEF certified school in 8 areas under automotive, they're wrestling with the time requirements, and they asked if we think this would help meet the NATEF time requirements at the end of an e-training, have a proctored test on the material presented as well. Any thoughts there, or is that more a NATEF address?
Yeah, that's more NATEF's bailiwick. I can't comment on that. I'm sorry.
And then John asked if it would make sense to do this particular e-module first when starting or considering a career, and then pursue maybe G1 as a first step towards ASE certification when one meets the experience requirements for the G1. What do you think about that approach?
I mean, I think it's sensible. I have one instructor right now who's running such a program in New York State where the entry-level people come in, use the Intro to Auto Service e-learning program, then they have some curriculum that's custom developed, and they build the students towards G1 certification.
And Matt had asked, when is the e-learning testing? And I think that's addressed because it's available all the time, correct, Dave? And when a candidate goes through the modules, completes Module 4, then the quiz module is available whenever they want, just as the other modules are. So it's really a function of when you are accessing the product, correct?
Yeah, it's when you have time available. It's very analogous to, when can I go and buy something from Amazon.com, for example. Anytime you want. It's internet-based. If you feel like getting up at 2:30 in the morning and working on this, you can go ahead and do that. It's not offered during testing windows, like ASE certification is. It's a 24/7 kind of deployment.
Jerry asked if we accept school POs for the product, and then also there's a question by Charles related to whether the modules are linked with the current NATEF task list. Can you address those two, Dave?
Okay, we have been accepting some school POs, okay? So I know that that's the case. And as far as linked to the current NATEF task list, no, they're not linked to it.
I think to answer James' question about whether the student or the instructors have to purchase it, almost anyone can purchase this, correct, Dave?
Yeah, anyone can purchase it, and actually thanks to James for bringing that up, because that just jogged my memory about something else. One of the ways that we offer this for sale is you can come in right now. You can come into the asecampus.com. You can go through it. We use VeriSign security. You can do online payment with a credit card and buy the product directly, and that would be in your own profile. The other thing that we do to facilitate, because it looks like we have quite a few instructors here tonight, as I probably figured would make sense. The other thing that we offer is we offer what's called a voucher program, where you can come in, you can purchase vouchers, which essentially are electronic coupons or credits for the program, and then you can assign them to students and go from there. So you're basically going to make the purchase. Then what you're going to get is you get an email with all the voucher codes embedded in it sent to you, and then you could hand them out. The only thing I want to say, though, is that for anybody that's out there that's interested in buying this program, if you've got students and you want to buy 10 or more and get that discount we don't do online. That has to be handled offline. And we have a voucher request form for that purpose. So you'd fill it out, you'd send it in to us, and we'll figure that out with the PO, the payment, and then what we can do is then we would distribute your vouchers to you manually, that way ensuring that you're going to get that discount. Dan, was there another part that I missed? I think there was something else
I think you got it. Let me start as answering another one. You got the POs, and then who was going to purchase it. You did fine. So that was good. One of the questions Charles is asking if we could show an example of one of the modules as if they were taking it right now, maybe a minute or two. I don't know if that's possible at all, Dave. I think that's a little tricky with the way we were set up, correct?
Well, let me just try something here once. I'll throw caution to the wind and see if we can do that here real quick.
I love it.
Hopefully that this didn't happen to coincide with a network maintenance night. I mean, it won't affect our broadcast right now, but as far as me getting in there, let me just take a look here. So bear with me.
While you're doing that, Dave, could I ask you another question?
Sure.
Kurt wants to know if instructors can see reports for students. Is that possible?
It's possible. We don't currently do that right now, but it's in the realm of possibilities that this program is going to expand and become something else, and I can understand why an instructor would want that. So I don't want to dismiss it. It's something we can certainly look into, but it's not a feature we offer in the current product as it stands right this minute.
Now, Matthew had asked if I'm assuming it's a question, that the credentials will be located on the myase.com. The ASE campus will hold the credentials?
ASE campus has the credential. The credential is not on my ASE at this time.
Okay, and it's really technically not a credential. It's a certificate of completion, correct?
It's a completion certificate, that's right.
Okay, thank you. Edward had asked if there's a patch related to this training. There is not. It is like Dave just said, a certificate of completion is what we provide once the quiz has been successfully navigated.
That's right.
Do we have a process yet for previewing, say, a courtesy license for review for educators, Dave?
Contact me directly. We can talk about that.
Okay.
Okay, what I'm doing right now is I'm just bringing up a sample screen, and let me get my questions pane back open here. Okay, the certificate for the program is in, when somebody's logged in, it's in Review My Results, and here it is, ASE Introduction to Automobile Service Program, Final Quiz, Module 5. And this is what their certificate looks like, so then they can go ahead and they can print it out. And then the question regarding the live module. Okay, so here's a bookmarking function actually functioning, so it's reminding me I've been in here before. And let's go back. So here I've got section A, looked at that. Let's go into Tools and Equipment, section C. So here I've been in here before, and hang on just a second. I want to get my questions pane back because I can't see what's going on. Bear with me just a second. Okay, that's better. Okay, so let me just go ahead here real quickly and let's look at, I don't know, service pits for a second. I've been in this task before. So here's an example where you're kind of hyper safety alert, which talks about safe and proper use of automotive lifts or pits, I'm sorry, so on and so forth. Yep, okay. And so you get a passage of text, and then I'll go for more. And you can see the taskbar increasing, it goes through. And so here, this interaction is, you know, how would you activate the pit ventilation? You come over here, and then here's your task tips, which are the summary of what's going on in the task. We talk about some basic tools and the tool and equipment usage. And we talk about the basic tool set for the, you know, for this entry-level person. Again, very basic information. I'll probably get this one wrong. I can't remember. Oh, I guess I did. Okay. So that's where that tool was. And again, here's your task tips. And so what you are now is with each task, you're in a loop. You start out, you're in this section page here, which shows them all. You click on it, you go through the task, you come back here, you're in a loop. And each time you complete something, so here, floor jacks and jack stands, for example. Again, that's a heavy emphasis on caution. Talk about proper jack stand positioning. Okay, so now that task is then completed, and now we can go on and we can go through the, we would start with our knowledge check questions. Any other specifics on this, Dan, in terms of, I'm not monitoring the chat window right now, or the questions window.
No, nothing else has popped up really based on that. It says Charles is asking that he make sure that you put your contact information on the screen for them.
Okay, I will do that. Let me do that real quickly here. That's my direct dial, so you can get straight to me.
James had asked how the Intro to Auto Service compares to the end of program testing, and really the ASE end of program testing through NATEF is now called the ASE Student Certification exams. And the Student Certification exam is a testing product, and the Automobile Service Introduction is really a training product, so the two are not the same.
Right. Yeah, they're designed really for different purposes. Yeah, I invite all of you, if you have a special need, an interest regarding this program, please do contact me. I'd like to hear what's on your mind, and any potential way we could meld this program going forward into maybe another direction. I know we're going to have, we'll have a lot of people coming out and saying, well, we should have this and we should have that. We just have to see what kind of feedback we get.
Dave, thanks for taking a minute to show us that that module. I really appreciate that.
Yes, absolutely.
Comes some creative webinar. That's really good.
Just want to show everybody real quick to get some information here. If you go to the Intro to Auto Service e-learning program, there's a box here. There's also a YouTube video. We do have a video of most of what you've seen tonight on YouTube that you can be watched. There's ASE Campus has its own channel. But on this drop-down menu here, you can see some different things here. This could be interesting for some of us here that want to know really how comprehensive this program can be. See, Dan, everything was working swimmingly until I tried to launch this PDF.
Well, the most important thing worked, and that was your demonstration of the product. So.
So what I'm going to do here now is just to perhaps give you a quick glimpse of how comprehensive it is. And you saw where I went to get this document. You can all get this, you can download it, and you can save it. This is the task list that the industry built for this product. So there you can see in that particular section. Section B, we get into things like VIN, decals, service information, bulletins, and MSDS. We showed you tool and equipment usage. We talk a little bit about fasteners, of course, safety aspects, lifts, pits, ventilation, fluids, cleaning and lube, and, you know, again, important stuff, how to prepare a vehicle for a customer, making sure that warning lights and all those sorts of things are off. General underhood inspection. We get in the undercar area. Again, it's very comprehensive. The depth of each one of these is not real deep, but again, it's broad. It gives that person that intro level of knowledge, that you know, a sense of awareness. So then Module 4, we get right into body, battery charging, electrical systems. You can see the things we cover there, anything from battery charging, inspection, cleaning, the fuse replacement, lamps, basic lamp replacement, and then just a quick description of the quiz. Folks, that's what I had planned tonight. Again, I would be happy to take your, you know, your questions offline after this session. During the coming days and weeks of any unique needs you might have to administer it for you individually or perhaps for your students, your organization, institution, what have you. We're kind of excited about it. Again, it's a new thing for ASE. It's a very entry-level type of program, and we're hoping that the industry will find it useful. And you know, more than anything, that it actually is a benefit to the end users. Dan, that's all I have, so unless you've got anything else for me.
No, thanks again, Dave. You did a very nice job. Appreciate it.
Well, thanks everyone for attending tonight, and thanks for your interest and your time. And I know if your winter's been anything like ours, I'm sure you'd rather be outside than sitting in front of a computer screen, but hopefully this has been a benefit to you. And again, thanks for your interest. Direct any of your requests towards me. Hopefully you got my contact information there. And thanks again, and good night from ASE.